Where's the love? Where's the love? It's right here in the heart of the city. I'm Silas Grant, and I'm joined by my twin today.
Yeah, hey, twin.
Tony Lewis Jr. What's up, bro?
Man, what's up, home?
This episode is obviously sponsored by DC
Man,
or nothing,
DC
right?
or absolutely nothing. Hey, just for everybody out there, great minds just think alike,
think
man.
alike,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? It just happen like this. You know what I'm saying? The shorts with the jump with the jump. So, yeah, you know, but this might be the uniform. We might need to do this.
We might need to do that.
We need
Yeah,
to
I
get
like
another
this.
shipment. It's crazy, too. Right before I'm on my way over here, the homie Eon, shout out to Eon Williams.
Yeah,
you know
shout
what
out
I'm
to Eon.
saying?
What's up?
The extraordinaire, you know what I'm saying? But he hit me and was asking me, yo, TL, you got, some more hats? He about to, go out of town. He said his dog bit his hat up or whatever, man. But yeah, I was telling Ian, I was like, damn, bro, I gave all them joints away, but, we got to do another run.
Yeah, we do.
If this is what we going to be doing, you know?
That's what we get.
You know what I'm saying? What's up with you, though, man? How you? You all right?
Good, man. I just got back from Disney World.
Yeah,
man.
magical, the happiest place on earth, man.
Man, you know what? I was really inspired because I hadn't been to Disney World literally in 40 years.
Yeah.
Right? I was like 4 or 5 years old when I went down there last time. And I was really inspired, man. Like, just Walt Disney's vision.
Yeah, man.
And it coming to what it is now. It's amazing.
That's incredible.
It's incredible.
I told you, like,
Yeah, you was telling me.
and how it like makes almost, even as the parent, it almost like it take you back to that time when you went before, when you was 4 or 5 years old. It's like, and then like the what I marvel at is like the placement of everything, the stores, all the concession joints, the merch joints, the actual characters coming out, like everything. Nothing is an accident. The music, when the parade comes, you know what I'm saying? Like everything is like, aimed at to have you continue to feel that euphoria and keep on. Every time you get off a ride, you let out into a store, you know what I'm saying, where you got to buy
We noticed that.
more stuff.
We noticed that.
Because you're going to say no.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? The first 4 or 5, mommy or daddy, can I have? But you go at some point, bro, you all ready to pay. Well, how much was it? How much is it to get in?
Boy, I thought we had a bottle and some hookah with the price we
I'm
paid.
telling
boy.
you, oh.
It was $600 for admission.
At entry.
Is that a table? For real.
Nah, that I know, bro. Just think about that.
And so what I battled with when we walked out or when we walked in and I seen the prices again, so it was like $160, like $170 for Valerie and I a piece. And it was only $5 less.
$170 per day. Yeah, right.
For Molly.
For a 4-year-old.
So what I thought about is the multi-day pass worth it? Because now the multi-day pass is like $2-something.
Yeah.
You end up spending like $900 for a multi-day situation. Like it's $1,000 worth the admission when you got a 4-year-old and you don't know what the next day gonna hold.
Sure.
Right?
I mean, these are all the things that you
it's
gotta
variables. Right now,
Yeah.
I will say this, right? And this episode ain't about Disney, but you talked about the spending. Nothing's really expensive. Just everywhere you turn, there's something to buy.
That's it. That's what it is.
Because it's $25 a park. You can go to all the different places on that one parking fee.
Yeah.
So we could leave and go to Epcot Center and don't have to pay again
Sure.
for parking, none of that, right?
Sure.
We spent less than $40 on our meal, the 3 of us.
Right.
So that's like McDonald's,
Right.
Chick-fil-A. So it ain't really expensive.
And
it's
we
just,
live here, so
Yeah, that too.
yeah.
that
If
too.
you coming from somewhere else, it might seem
That
expensive.
might be,
but
he right.
But from
very,
here,
very good point.
you know what I
Very
mean?
good point.
Yeah, it's like on par. It
Yeah,
ain't
very
really,
good point.
yeah. But
Yeah.
still, it's
Yeah.
but what's not on par though is like you said, all the different things that and I again, we ain't. This is not what we talking about today. But the one thing I think about, when we had an opportunity to take the girls wherever. I'm very grateful, right, that we in a position to do so,
Yes,
right?
that too.
And B, I often think about, like, bro, and I ain't even saying this, but like, man, a lot of families we know, a lot of families we grow, a lot of people ain't gonna be able to make that trip, bro. These trips, or even to go when I'm like at a Nets game. Or, we've talked about that before. Like, if ain't nobody giving you, if you go back or, go to the Commanders game or whatever it is, man, or to even go to the movies. right? That is an expensive thing for a family. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that I think to me that's always like the driver though. Like, and a lot of the work that we've done individually and collectively is really about, you know, trying to help people get in a position where they can have, you know, these different experiences. And I was so happy to see you and your family down that joint.
Yeah, it was definitely worth the while, and it made me think about the work that I've done to be able to earn the ability to take my family there.
Yeah, bro.
And just reestablishing that this is why you have to value yourself and what you bring to the table.
100%.
Because those experiences, they deserve to have it.
Cuz.
You know?
No lie. And like even the little pictures I saw just to see the look on Molly's face, bro. It's like when you know when them you had them experiences with your young, you see that, it's like, man, whatever it takes, bro.
She used to watch parades every day, all day during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So this wasn't just like a regular kid going to Disney World. It was like she really, you know, she would watch. That was her thing. She would watch Disney parades all day.
Wow.
She would stand in front of the TV, not sit down, stand in front of the TV and watch all day during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So that for her, that was her thing. That was her Super Bowl.
Yeah, she saw that in real life.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, man. And I think along those lines, what we wanted to talk about, or what we are going to talk about today, is building family, building community, and some of the barriers that are in place around building family and community, given the fact that our communities are so fractured in terms of like physical proximity.
Yeah.
Right? So about a week ago, you and I were outside of Dunbar High School the morning after an unfortunate homicide that took place in the area adjacent to the school. Councilman McDuffie reached out to us and a number of other good men and asked us to show some solidarity and come to the school and greet the kids as they came in the next day and just talk to the parents and the staff and just be there, right? People that have done the work in the community being there. And it was an honor for him to ask us to come out there and to be present in that way. And there was a moment that you and I noticed. There was a woman, she had to have been 70 years old, right? It didn't appear that she was dropping anybody off at school, but she had her window down and she yelled out at us like, do they have stuff in place for our babies today?
Now you were talking. You were talking to somebody. Your back was turned.
Yeah.
She dropped off what I would assume. Okay. She dropped off what I would assume. You know, her grandson.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. But so she pretty much what happened was she kind of watched him go in the building. Then she started to drive. That's why I seen when once you turned around, it seemed like she was just riding past.
I got you. Yeah.
But anyway,
But her question was still, you know, suitable. Like, do y'all have something for our babies?
Y'all got some counseling for our babies. Yeah. You know, and more than that, are our babies gonna be okay? That's, you know what I mean. I just felt all the worry and the heaviness of that statement, bro. You know what I mean? And like I'm looking at it too. Like my grandmother, you know, was played a heavy role in raising me. You know what I mean? And a lot of us. But I think it's so common that up until like recently, when I'm really starting to really like think about that, right? As a parent. And with my father being home now, right? You know, unfortunately, like, you know, because my mom's situation, like my mom around, of course, but my mom ain't never babysit my kids, you know what I'm saying? She ain't never watched my kids, right? But my point is, and you know, we got Jess' mother as well, and Jess' dad. And I used to watch it from their lens before my father came home, but now even with my father being home, that my children's grandparents are really like grandparents, right?
Yes.
They jump in for a couple hours, or they do something fun with them, or whatever. They don't raise them.
Yes.
You know, you understand what I'm saying? So it's called like, damn. And because at that stage in their life, they not supposed to.
Yeah, you asking a relief pitcher to be a starter.
There you go.
Or closer. You asking a closer
or a
to be
retired pitcher to come back in.
Yeah.
That's really what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I think about how many, you know, especially in poor black communities, I'm talking about that specifically. And in District of Columbia, just think about how many people being raised by their grandparents and how much can a person at that stage in their life do? They not supposed to be in that role to be the primary caretaker of somebody that's at the peak of their energy, a teenager. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So anyway, see, right? So I'm thinking about that woman, looking in her eyes. I saw my grandmother. I saw everybody grandmother I knew that prayed for them, that was doing everything they could to ensure that that young man or woman becomes something, and also the pain or whatever may have contributed to that, their child not being in a position. And I don't know, that woman, you know what I mean, she could have been simply just dropping that boy off. She could have been just doing her grandma thing. I'm not, I don't know them down there, but her eyes said to me, she woke him up, fed him breakfast, took him to the mall to buy the Jordans the day before. You know what I'm saying? She gave me off that she raising him. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know, she ain't say my grandbaby. She said our babies. You know what I mean? And I think that for me, again, man, I'm not, but I just wanted to just like unpack that, because that's what that, and I'm like, damn, that's it though. But that's what we up against, the point you made in that, like, yo, like, look, like that's our responsibility to help her.
And ideally, it was probably about 18 to 20 of us out there.
Yeah.
Right? Ideally, in past generations, a lot of us would have been able to walk to Dunbar, whereas now a lot of us drove over.
Facts.
Some of us live across town, out of the boundaries of the city now, all of that, right? Yep. Which it makes it more commendable that the group showed up, but you also think about, where is the presence of the capable man in the neighborhood that can show up, right? Because you live right there, and Leon from the Hanover Civic Association lives right there, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a handful of other guys that walked around the corner, but a lot of us live in other communities. Yeah. And it just makes me think about the fact that it's hard to build culture, it's hard to build community without having physical proximity.
Man.
And one of our most recent episodes, we talked about the digital impact of advocacy, right? But one of the drawbacks is that you still need physical proximity.
You got to get up on people.
You got to get up on people.
And in that same vein, I was telling people, you know, that when I was growing up, in the generation before me, and the generation after me, right? But this generation is a time where, you know, in terms we really seeing the true impacts of gentrification, where 85% of the student body in Dunbar would live in a 10 to 15 block radius of Dunbar. You know what I mean? That started to change a little bit when tech closed, and you start getting people coming from like Trinidad and maybe like Montana and all that, start coming to Dunbar.
And then tech reopened as a non-neighborhood school.
Exactly. It reopened as a non-neighborhood school. But then you got a heavy people coming from southeast, other parts of northwest, southwest, all that, you know, students coming from all over to go to Dunbar. I think a lot of people, what I was saying was gentrification caused what it did was impact the community, where you remove black families from my neighborhood, right? So first of all, it ain't a whole lot of black teenagers, and now Certain Quarters gone, right? So what happens is, when we start talking about community continuity, is what I would like to call it. Somebody in that community that know your mother, that know your father, that know your grandmother.
The teacher taught your parent.
The teacher taught your parent. Yeah. All them type of things that we once had that made school strong, that made it when a youngin' got out of school, they had some concern about how they showed up in community. If I live on Benning Road, Southeast, and I go to Dunbar, I already know 9 times out of 10, when I'm walking from Dunbar to Noma Station, or Dunbar to Mount Vernon Convention Center Station, I already know 9 times out of 10, don't nobody know me. Yeah. You don't understand what I'm saying? That has impact on young people. Young people need those parameters. And I think people thought I was saying that gentrification, like in terms of, I tweeted about this, I think they thought I was saying that like gentrification caused a young man to get shot. No. People was getting shot in Dunbar when that ain't necessarily new. But what I'm saying is, I was just speaking as a resident. I live in that neighborhood. You can't tell me about what I know to be true. You know what I'm saying? Even with me, when I don't know these youngins, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Sometimes some of them may know me, and they may say, "Oh, that's my bad." You know, when they in the back of my alley doing what they do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I encounter this, but also for a lot of them, especially if they coming from Ward 7 or Ward 8 or whatever the case may be, they see 3, 4, 5 white people. They're like, oh, everybody around here white. That's how they feel.
That's how they feel. Yeah. Especially when they don't have any white people in their neighborhood where they're coming from.
So it's like, oh, I could do what I want to do around this joint, And again, that some of that, when we look at it, gentrification from that standpoint, when we look at, the lack of neighborhood schools, we talked about this too, even on the elementary level, where John F. Cook, where it's now Muna Verde. I'm saying? When I was growing up, it was John F. Cook, First North Capitol on P Street between North Capitol and First. You had Scott Montgomery, which is now Kip. Yeah. Between New Jersey on P, right? There's only 4 blocks up the street. On P between New Jersey and 5th Street. And then you had Walker Jones, right? That's on First and L. Across from where Sursa Quarters used to be, right? And it used to be Turl there, but that's all of us one thing, Walker Jones. That was 3 elementary schools and really that's a 5-block radius. But it was that many children in that neighborhood.
Yeah, my block was the boundary for 4 schools.
Right, exactly, right? Yeah. And people will walk to schools. That's why you see all these traffic jams at all of these schools, because people are coming from other places. What does that say? People that go to these schools don't live around these schools. So it's hard, to your point, it's so hard to really build. We be talking about school communities and all this stuff. Man, you said it that morning, and that joint stuck with me. It's hard to do it when people don't live amongst each other. You can't play date your way into that sense of community, bro.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned play date, because that's the first thing I was thinking about, even with my experience having a 4-year-old now. She don't have any friends in the neighborhood where we live, right? That will never happen. Right. I just don't even see it happening, right? And so for us, going back to the Disney World, being able to afford to travel, that sort of thing, we're blessed. Our 2 family dynamic structures, right? So we have a secure base, but then everybody that's in our circle is secure. So we can do the play date thing and supplement the community thing by building our own tribe. But if your socioeconomic scale, based on how America rates it, is lower than what you and I are, you can't play date your way out of that. You can't.
And the reality of it is, I'm glad you said it that way, because the kids that we talking about, or some of these schools that we talking about, the student body, they're not at that level where they could do. They don't have that.
Yeah.
What's interesting is a lot of the people, a lot of other people that are now coming into these certain schools, they do and they may have grown up that way. They can do that. You know what I mean? I think we miss, and then when we say things like what's going on with these kids or why they behaving this way, it's not a finger point thing. I think it's important to speak to where the gaps are so that we can kind of strategize on how do we engage. Damn, I never even thought about it that way. Yeah, you wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? And so when people say, well, man, a teenager, and God rest his soul, that young man who lost his life, got shot on New Jersey and P right after school. How does that happen? You know what I'm saying? And what people also gotta understand is, when I think the collective thought was, it's that I was back to the tweet I made. I'm not never saying gentrification. I said gentrification caused the lack of community continuity. I'm not saying gentrification caused that young man to get shot. But what I am saying is, y'all told us that gentrification would stop young men from getting shot.
Yeah.
And that's really, as a city, that's what we're grappling with, to be honest.
Because we thought that, and I'm using the word we loosely here, but we thought that as a city, we could just put a different deck of cards on the table.
It's fact.
And it's still some wild cards in that deck.
Facts.
Man.
That's what the drum we've been beating the whole time. That alone with these moves we were making, this investment in infrastructure, this investment to lure all these people from all over the place, nothing was wrong with any of it. But if you did not invest in people, the things that you thought was going to go away would not.
You made a tweet that I saw, I think that same day, and I want you to talk about it a bit. I'm just going to sort of case it for you, but you basically were saying that if we know that this profile of people are most likely to be the victims and the culprits, why not just invest in that subset? And you've been beating that drum for God knows how long,
yeah,
but
sure.
I want you to kind of unpack that
point.
But
I think in America, so it's not just a DC thing.
Right.
In America, it was particularly we talking about public safety. It's been law enforcement role or the criminal justice system, its role is to keep us, the good people, safe from them. Mm-hmm. Whoever them may be and whoever, right? The quote unquote bad people. Right? In that framework, I feel like has never made us safer collectively, right? And it will never. If we know, to your point, like I said, if we know that there's a group of people in this city, we know are the most likely to be victims or perpetrators of violent crime. And I think those two things are interchangeable. We don't always look at it like that.
Yeah.
Many of the people that commit violent crimes have also been victimized, right? If they're victimized the most, they just don't tell nobody about it, right? And so if we ever was able to create a dynamic where we kept them safe, that group of people safe, by default, the rest of us gonna be all right. And that's sort of the approach that we have to have. And even when we look at the way law enforcement, because we'll say, and it's true, right? We'll say, well, certain people don't call the police, right? They don't engage with the police officers the same way as like people that come from, a different class or a different way of life, right? We know that. People that call the police and say, yeah, the guys out there, they got on the same shirt, same hoodie and same hat. You know what I mean? They look like they up to something or they did something, whatever, right? I get that, cool. But what I'm saying is if we patrol community in a way in which we saying we here to protect you, even if it's just us being present where you are. Yeah. We know who you are. We're going to be present wherever you at. Yeah. So you can look at it as we trying to stop you from doing something to somebody, but we also trying to stop somebody from doing something to you.
It has to be genuine.
Like that's the goal, is to keep you safe. And if I keep you safe, if I got eyes on you, then also you probably less likely to do something, right? But the most important thing is I'm keeping you safe. If I kept you safe, and it's like what we call a soft press, I'm almost pushing you. I ain't gonna let you do nothing wrong, so I'm almost pushing you over there. Hey, how about you try to do something right? How about you try to engage these people that's right there to help you? You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of back and forth that we got to build in our community. People make mistakes, people make dumb decisions. And I even, I've been thinking a lot about people, these emergency bills, criminal justice bill, the pendulum swinging back into the quote unquote tough on crime, and all that. But this is the thing. First of all, to the public, people gotta understand this too. This is these wild tropes that be getting out there. Man, they act like everybody that go get locked up, go right home. Like, we know that's not a fact. No, they keeping people, okay? That's one, they keeping people, right? But the other thing is this. It's not that people don't think that or aren't fearful of getting caught or consequence. If that was the case, people wouldn't tell, people wouldn't, they wouldn't do none of that. They like, no, people care about getting caught or what happens if they get caught. I think people are just have real confidence that they won't get caught. Now, I don't know what that is, right?
And you do what's most comfortable to you.
Facts.
So if you get caught, there's a blueprint given to you about how to do your time, how to bid. Right? We even say that,
You just
right?
feel comfortable. That's right.
So you're used to it.
And if you don't, you got a situation where also you in so much crises. So you think about how brazen and the things that people are doing. That's not a necessarily. These aren't like logical. These guys ain't just waking up and say, "Oh, I'm gonna be the worst person in the world." No, it's things that's informing these decisions, right? So what I'm getting at is, you're not gonna ever deter that person with your, "Oh, we gonna give you, 15 years instead of 10." Like, that ain't, you know what I'm saying? That's not gonna resonate with them. That's gonna make the public seem as if you, as the lawmakers and all, like, you trying to stop crime. That ain't stopping crime. It never has.
It would be, I could respect it if the reasoning for increasing it was because you want to punish them because the victim feels they should be punished.
Yeah.
If it's that, just say that.
Yeah.
Don't say you're doing it to deter people from doing crimes.
Exactly. And what's crazy is, even with a lot of the, the homicide, a different thing, but like, you know what I'm saying? You even ask people, people been victimized. It's like, you want a person to learn a lesson. You know what I'm saying? Some people got to go to jail for a minute. Like, cool, ain't nobody saying not to hold people accountable. But if I'm just always like, pause on putting it out there like, "Oh, we gonna change this law and now automatically it's safe outside." Yeah. That's craziness, and that's political theater, and it's hurtful. To me, that's criminal, because that's not true. You should not be projecting that to the public. Yeah, I know they gotta, project that they doing something to keep the public safe. Fine, but I just be wanting to see some emergency stuff around some jobs, some emergency stuff around some housing, some emergency stuff around mental health treatment and addiction treatment. Like, let's emergency that. Let's increase that. You know what I'm saying? Lead with that, because you're not deterring somebody who've already, but when you understand the culture that most of these dudes come from, like we come from, you already have accepted that you're going to die early or go to jail. And I've said this 100 times too, but there's no way you deter me with that. I can't even see that far. You know what I'm saying? For real. I'm like, I get caught, so I go to jail. Well, I'm a legend. Cool. That's how they see it at that time. I was watching something on YouTube early about sort of the era we came up in, mid-90s, right? And hearing all the super predator rhetoric, all of the young black men, with no emotional regulation, moving just impulsively, they're a danger to society. That's what they saying about us, our generation. And you hearing that exact same rhetoric today. And so at that time for us, it was like in the middle of like the crack epidemic. You know what I'm saying? But again, we here in this time, and it's like, well, what's the, but the mainstay has been poverty, lack of education, lack of opportunity. It's the same drivers, right? It's the same drivers. So it's like, as a society that we talk about all these quote unquote experts and all. As a society, at what point are we going to address those drivers? You know what I'm saying? It's not, incarceration has been a part of our entire existence.
So today,
you ain't scaring people with that.
Today, I was on Instagram, and shout out to Marcus and Tony at Flick Shop.
I saw Marcus earlier too.
They went on Instagram Live, and they had business pitches.
Yeah.
For their cohort.
Flick Shop School of Business.
Yeah, School of Business, yeah. Incredible program. They're sponsored by Amazon Web Services now.
Facts.
So they've had a couple of good sponsors, like major corporations sponsor their program.
Sure.
For those that don't know, Flick Shop is an app that you can use to take photographs and write letters to people that are incarcerated. And they've built on that concept, and now they have a school of business where they take people, primarily folks that are coming home, but not everybody in the program has come home, but primarily people who are hard to employ, so to speak, right? And they take them through like a crash course on what it is to own a business, and they call it the Flick Shop School of Business. They have a number of instructors that come in and teach them like specific things about business. So I'm on Instagram, I see their page, it's live. I click on the live, and Marcus is talking. He's introducing one of the cohort members. Mm-hmm. Happens to be a guy that I kind of like grew up with.
Wow.
Doing the pitch. So I sit there, I stay on.
Just random.
Yeah, just random.
Yeah, love
I ain't seen him in years.
Right.
Right? He just coming home, to my knowledge, right? Because I hadn't seen him. He does a pitch and does a phenomenal job. Man. And I'm not saying that, oh, he's doing a phenomenal job for a guy that came home from. No, he did a phenomenal presentation.
Right.
Like I sat and I watched it and I was like, wow. But in that moment, it hit me how many of my friends have gone through the justice system. And I looked at him and I'd never seen him speak like that before. Because the conditions that he came from, he wasn't afforded the opportunity to be comfortable enough to do that.
Come on, man.
Every time he came outside, it was aggression meet aggression. But to hear him speak that way, and it wasn't like he was just reading something. He knew the product, right?
Yeah.
He was speaking to the value of the pitch he was making. And it really hit me in that moment. I was like, dang, like so many of my friends have been in the job. I mean, we know that, right? But it hit me again.
Yeah.
I got an email.
And that brilliance.
Like, right? Yeah. That's my point. Yeah. Like, the brilliance came out in a roundabout way, and he had to go to jail and go through a program for it to be comfortable enough for that to happen. Yep. And then I get an email from another friend that's incarcerated this week, and he like, yeah, such and such up here with me now. 2 guys that I grew up with that I ain't seen in years because they've been locked up for years.
Now they together, though.
They together, and man, I want to give him your number. He gonna call you.
Yeah, man.
And I ain't talked to this guy in 25 years.
Yeah, bro.
He been locked up that long, and it's like all this brilliance that's been caged.
Yeah, man. And that's the thing. And this generation behind, it's about to happen again.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And if we don't, and again, I'm not saying that. I think our city does a tremendous amount in terms of setting up programming and stuff like that. But I think what happens, there's a lack of real understanding of the people that are really these programs are targeting. And these programs aren't ran by people that understand. And that's essential. There's not enough respect given to those that do understand, to think that they can lead these things. You know what I'm saying? It's very clear, and it's hard to have that conversation sometimes with people because nobody's taking shots. You know what I'm saying? It's just the reality. It's the reality, and I feel like where we are, and they've been talking about other major cities. Murder rate has been going down, and ours is up. You know what I'm saying? 50% or whatever it is. We have close to 60 homicides more today than we had this same time last year. And everybody is talking about why, but this is the thing. This is the thing. For black people from here, right? Even as DC has continued to be so progressive and have these major budgets and all, for black people from Washington, it never changed really. It never stopped being 94 for real. I mean, we can really do by the numbers. It's been 94 since 94 for black people from here. And I hate to generalize that, but that is the reason why we're seeing what we're seeing, because guess what? It continues to be the lion's share of those dying, those committing the crimes, those, going to prison, those food insecure, housing insecure, those ODing. You can look at all of it. And there's going to be black people from Washington, bro. And you telling me we shouldn't be hyper-focused on that group of people? It ain't happening to nobody else.
I think what some people insinuate or even flat out say is that it's a zero-sum game, that if we invest in them somehow, despite the fact that we have a $20 billion budget, that the other people who pay taxes work, that they're going to lose resources.
Yeah,
and that's just not the case.
At first, it ain't the case. We got enough to go around. This the other thing, though. The investment in that group is an investment in every group. That's the part. An investment in that group, a true investment, because now you feel it. You don't want to go to the ballpark. You don't want to go to movies. You don't want to walk your dog. But not even just that. If we invest in them, that's going to be more money being put into the pot.
because they're gonna be getting employed.
This is the thing I think people get missed though with that side. They miss that. We're not saying pay for people to live a good life. That ain't what we saying. We're saying address the issues of this group. Create clear pathways. You can build whatever rigor you want to build into these pathways, but create clear pathways to a destination where they can be on level ground.
And then you and I are privy to, I think the one thing I have to step back sometimes and think about is you and I are privy to stories that the world won't ever get a chance to hear. So we see the success when a guy who 10 years ago would have never wanted a job is proud and shedding tears when he got a DPW job or he driving a bus.
Yes.
Or he see that.
Well, that's a great point. Every day.
Yeah.
And Art All Night was Saturday. Well, Friday and Saturday. And shout out to I gotta say this. Shout out to Mayor Bowser. Shout out to Latoya and all of them.
Christy Whitfield,
DSLBD, and the DC Television Entertainment and Events DC. Bro, what happened in this city Friday and Saturday? I mean, Art All Night is always amazing, but bro, it was amazing, bro.
Yeah, I saw it from Florida.
It was incredible, bro.
I was impressed.
So shout out to them and all they staff, everybody who had something to do with it. I gotta say that because all the clean teams, bro. You know what I'm saying? All the DPW folk, everybody who had a hand in making that what it was. All the people at DC Public Library. So this is what I'm getting to talking about it down at MLK Library. They had the block party, 9th and G. You had Backyard, Serious Company, Black Alley, Junkyard, and RE all performed down there. I mean, it was incredible, right? And I saw so many, I'm getting to the point of I saw so many people that I had, been a part of their journey. Some people as recent as 3 months ago, some people 23 years ago, And the stories and the, people showing me thanking me for, things that I did for them, right? And I'm telling them, thank you for doing what you do, because that's what, man, Tone, I just bought a house. Tone, my daughter graduated college. Like, these efforts, and listen, this city has provided a lot of that, right? We're just saying we have to increase it, right? It can't just be these, every now and again, these one-offs, right? But that it really is not only life-changing for that individual, but it is life-changing for families, bro. For families. And then we also got to create a situation where that guy or that woman who's able to pivot and do that they also can afford to live in the city that they from. Because we're also losing that, you know what I'm saying? Okay, you get a good job, but now you have to leave the city. We have to figure that dynamic out. Because they want to live in a safe community too, right? A community where they can thrive.
Sometimes they're moving out not because they can't afford financially. They can't afford lifestyle.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because
they might pay their rent, but they can't live how they want to live.
But even beyond that, Art All Night, it felt like it catered to us this time, real heavy, right?
Yeah.
If I live in a certain part of the city, do I feel like the way in which the city is physically being designed now or redesigned? Do I feel like the structure of the city? Yeah. Can I afford to adjust so much?
Do they got
me
in mind? Yeah, because yeah.
It ain't even money. It's like I don't want to live like this.
That's a great point. Because, damn, that's heavy. Because, nobody really talks about just how much, if you're from here, you're a black person from here, how much, like you said, put aside whatever the cost or how much you've had to adjust just your way of life.
I know people that could afford to spend $600,000 on a house and they live in Maryland because they can live how they want to live.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about money. It's just like
culturally,
it don't feel like it's being designed with me in mind.
Like I told you, my aunt be like, yo, I want to go there, but I can't park out front.
Right, yeah.
I can't walk, her knees hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But hey, it's like nobody got, because your grandmother living wherever.
Yeah. And they haven't changed where your grandmother
not
lived
going
either.
to. You would jump up and you be acting like we crazy for feeling the way. If they try to change that road in Iowa, you would lose your mind. Yeah. And I don't say Iowa because like I'm saying, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Wherever, Wisconsin,
wherever it is, New Jersey, New York, whatever, right? Yeah. But you ain't from here, and so it's like we ain't crazy, but we've had to adjust. Don't nobody meet us halfway. You know what I'm saying? That's why I appreciated how our culture was via Art All Night, at least down in MLK Library, how it really was like centered. And that felt good, man. People felt good about that. You know what I mean? People that love this place. You know what I mean? You it feels good when there's some semblance of that you are loved back. Unapologetically. You understand what I'm saying? And that, you know, and again, back to the public safety thing. And this is no way to measure this, right? What I'm about to say. There ain't no data on this. But I think if we, you know, did a better job of making people feel seen, bro. Yeah. Making people feel heard. Yeah. A lot of what we're seeing in community today, bro, is a reaction. When you feel invisible.
And the minute I feel invisible, now I can take advantage of it.
Yeah. Or And in that, I'm also saying, here I go. I'm here. Yeah. You have to acknowledge me. And it's crazy that this really what's going on in community, bro. You know, they may not even know what, but that's what people yelling out. See me. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I'm here. You cannot just build around me. You cannot just continue to just and I don't even mean to say it like there's like some conspiracy, right, to like displace people. And it could be. I'm not saying that it isn't either.
Right.
But my point is, the moves that's happened in this city, you know, in the last decade, last 10 to 15 years, is causal in what we're seeing in the District of Columbia today. So and we all have to grapple with that. I'm not saying we all got to figure out like, yo, okay, how do we move forward? Because this ain't just happening just because.
I think people are trying to find a direct connection. I mean, to your point, like when you talked about the tweets, people misconstrued you saying that gentrification caused that particular shooting. Mm-hmm. Nah, there's like 25 things, this butterfly effect.
Facts.
That, you know, 30 things. It could be 1,000 things, right? Just small moves that have created fractures that have like, these cracks have now become serious like divides.
Holes, absolutely.
Holes, right? And
absolutely.
We struggle because, and again, using the word we loosely, I tell people, for those that are not in the work, if you have a house in a neighborhood and you see what's going on around you and you don't come from that element yourself, you're only relegated to what you see on television. And I've told guys who hang outside, you got to remember that woman that's calling the police on you, she watched The Wire.
Yeah, for sure.
So her perspective is like, the worst case is that they're going to blow this joint up with gun smoke, right? She don't understand y'all just hanging out here.
Yeah, man.
She see y'all as an organized group as she saw on The Wire or any of them other shows, right? Yeah. So
half y'all just got off work, but she don't know that.
She don't know that.
Yeah. People don't hang like that.
And so for the people that are just weighing in from that perch, their mind has been constructed to find the one for the one. Yeah. This is why this happened.
Yeah. And it ain't like that.
And it ain't like that.
And it's crazy because we also have people that are in leadership that are tasked with solving these issues that don't understand the issues. Yeah. That don't mean they not trying to. That don't mean they not good people. But it's like, nah, you don't understand nothing about your life. Nothing that you've done can tell me that we got to lean on you to figure this out. And I feel like it's stuff like that is just like, you know, it's scary to me as a citizen because the fact that people aren't open to talking to, like, man, I don't care. And I'm going to say this here. People can feel how they want to feel about it. But if you come into Washington, D.C., and you work in juvenile justice, if you work in criminal justice, if you work in dealing with reentry, if you tasked with poor black people in D.C., people got to start getting a cheat sheet. You have to talk to these guys or these men and women. And me and your name should be on that list. Period. And it shouldn't be, and I think in this town is different too in this way where, all I get it, go talk to and I'm not telling you not to talk to nobody. Talk to whoever. But when you talk about people that really know what's going on and understand, can give you some historical context, right? And you know what I'm saying? It's no way people like you and I ever be in a position where we have to make noise for somebody to come and meet with us.
Yeah, like you go flag. I'm
like,
over here.
Yeah, are you crazy?
I'm over here, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Do you know how like that don't even feel like, are you, and we supposed to take you serious though? And then you come out and propose these wild things, these things that are classist, that are racist, to be honest. Not that you're racist, but it's a racist thing. And I'm talking about, in this particular context, I'm talking about the chairperson of the Judiciary Committee, Ward 2 Councilmember Brooke Pinto, in this instance, with the proposal that men and women on supervision should just be susceptible to getting searched anytime, any place.
And I thought what you said was brilliant online again on Twitter, where you talked about those people not all being the same.
Yeah, they're not a monolith.
Yeah.
And when do you so when they at their kids basketball, football practice,
yeah,
right? When they at their jobs, doing the things that we say we want them to
out
do.
At the restaurant,
when they at church, when they at the mosque, when they at restaurant enjoy with their family. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's as if they're not a part of our community.
And we're very close to, I don't know everybody's makeup on the council today personally, but we're much closer today than we ever been to having someone who's a returning citizen on the council. So
can't wait for that to happen. It might be your colleague.
Right? It could be your colleague.
Yeah. That's right? On supervision.
It's on supervision, yeah.
And those are the kind of things that I think these echo chambers, like with people making these things. And yeah, we can say, oh, I put it out there so that the public can chime in. No, you should never put nothing like that out.
Yeah.
You got to lead. You're a leader. You know what I mean? Don't put that out there because that's part of, and you can't turn around and say you're for reentry. That's an impossibility.
It's hard. It's impossible to reenter when you got that over your shoulder.
Because you never see people as being able, like people, you know what I mean, pay their debt. There's not, and if the data, right, if the data is telling us a lot of this crime that we see in our community has been done by juvenile, how does doing that with adults impact what we're seeing?
Because I think also, we've talked about this offline, but when people see headlines, 14-year-old killed, we automatically assume it's a 40-year-old.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what's crazy?
They killing kids. You hear people say that all the time.
They killing kids. It's typically kids killing kids.
Yeah.
It's more likely a 40-year-old will get killed by a 14-year-old than a 40-year-old killing a 14-year-old.
100%.
More likely.
100%.
And it's just calling it what it is, right?
100%.
I don't hope that happens, but thus far, that's what it looks like.
That's how it be.
And because it's kid on kid, one, it's going to be hard to search people that are adults and get to the core of the answer when it's really a war among young people.
Facts.
But then secondly, if it's that case where it's young people involved on both sides, the perpetrator and the victim, then we got to look at these developing minds and try to get in front of it. That's even more reason why we got to have strategy, because they don't even know what they're doing.
Exactly. And searching every adult on supervision does nothing to impact that. That's what I'm saying.
You know how many guys that are either on supervision or have had time served that are doing the work trying to save the 14-year-olds.
But that, and how their example and their contribution never offsets how people see them. That's what was fundamentally the problem to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you can never
and it's like it really goes back to how we see people once they break the law, right? And even if right, this is another thing, okay, we hear this though, these people are repeat offenders, right? We hear that. I'm not here to dispute that. I'm not saying that that's not true, right? But being a repeat offender don't mean that that person is necessarily currently at that point. This is DC. Most black men have had some brush with the law. That brush could have been 20 years ago. That brush could have been 10 years ago. You understand what I'm saying? So, like, again, describe people as everybody being the same. It's dangerous. You understand what I'm saying?
I don't know that we talked about this, but when we were at the Justice Department a few weeks ago, you were on the panel, and the woman, her name is escaping me right now, black woman on the panel, she talked about her first charge.
Yeah.
And how it
Sheena
was
Mead.
Sheena, yes. And she eloquently stated in a way that I thought was really important for the audience to hear. It's like, that first offense was a spiral effect. So when you talk about repeat offenders, how many people enter the system that are not, it's not going to be a revolving door.
Yeah.
Right?
Because our system, as it's set up today, is set up that when you bump your head one time, you through.
Yeah.
All right? So that's the thing. It's like, that's what people be acting as if I'm like non-accountability. I'm not non-accountability. People should be held. People have heard me say that even about my own dad. Before he got, I used to say that all I get. He should have went to jail, but not for the rest of his life. What I'm saying is people break the law, as I stated at the Department of Justice. A judge, right, gives him or her a sentence. Once they serve that sentence, if we don't allow them the ability to do it, quote unquote, the right way after they get out, then we're actually holding them to become we're forcing them to get back into that lifestyle. That's the problem. Remove the barriers. It's like you would definitely see less repeat guys. We work with a lot of these dudes, whether it's juvenile or adults, and they trying. And they, like one of the brothers at Pathways, who came back as the guest speaker at the graduation. Shout out to cohort 14. He just graduated Friday. He mentioned, he said, man, I was in the halfway house. I filled out 60 applications, ain't get one call back. You understand what I'm saying? And these guys, the nature of their crime, they can't get. And so we still holding them account, and it hurts. It makes us less safe. So if we really cared about repeat offenders, right, then we would do a better job at clearing the path for people that are re-entering. That's why I continue to say a lot of the stuff is rhetoric. Because if you hold one thing to be true, then it should impact another thing over here. You can't say you want people to come home and get jobs and I remember a conversation I had with a council member. And I thought she had a great idea. Pinto, I'm talking about. She had a great idea. I felt about increasing training over the jail, right? I think that was okay, cool. I'm all for that, and hospitality too, right? It's one of our growth industries. But the question that I posed to the council member was it just kitchen? Like sometimes culinary considers to be hospitality. She was like, no. It's all because she said she worked in hospitality before. She would like to see people in all aspects of hospitality. Front desk, housekeeping. All that. I was like, I think that's amazing. I said, who gonna hire them? Most of our hotels in this area, except for shout out Thomas Penny.
My man.
And we shout out my dog, right? But I'm saying outside of people like Thomas, right? Most of the hotels in this city. Especially somebody, you just come home, somebody on supervision, they not recruiting returning citizens, right? All right. The other thing about that, I talked to her about who the federal government is our number one employee. I think number two. Who number two and number three biggest employees in our city is?
It's like education, like GW.
It's like GW in Georgetown.
Yeah.
What ward they in?
They in 2.
Like so, them people that get trained over to jail in hospitality, can they do housekeeping? Can they go in them dorms and clean up? You feel me? Now, and if they cannot, can they work at George Washington Hospital? Can they work at Georgetown Hospital? Right? Mm-hmm. And if they cannot, right? Can we get some emergency legislation so that they can? Do you get my point?
Yeah. And it's all in your hands. Because in multiple layers, the ward you represent, the committee that you chair.
Yeah. Right? And I'm going to give her time. I'm not saying but I'm saying that's why you talk to me.
Because nobody's putting
I'm at least raise those kind of questions.
Yeah.
I don't got all the answers, but I'm gonna raise them kind of questions. And if we care about reentry, if we care about criminal justice, right, that's what we do. And also, I mean, unfortunately, right, people ain't at the jail long. The average stay at the jail is like 14 days. You don't, and if you stay at the jail long, you typically you going to the feds after.
Right.
You're not coming home. So I don't, but the jail
14 days can break somebody.
Yeah.
Every opportunity they had could be gone.
Oh yeah, they lose their jobs all.
And that's why they recur.
That's it.
So if you don't have that in place,
come on, we got
be that.
So and nothing trickles down to this population, right? It don't just trickle down to the group of people we talking about. Poor black people from Washington who find themselves engaged in the criminal justice system, who find themselves having parents that are engaged in the criminal justice system, who find themselves with siblings and aunts and uncles engaged in the criminal justice system. Don't nothing trickle down, right? So we have to really carve out and be intentional. And that's what I'm trying to say to the powers that be, right? And we have not done that yet, right? I think we made some attempts, but again, I don't think if we lack the understanding of how deep it has to go, because I know a lot of them be like, man, Tony Lewis be tripping. We did this, we did that, and I get you. But I've been right there with you too. Don't act like I'm not judging. I'm saying we together.
Yeah,
I'm right here with you. And I'm telling you, in order for us to get it right, we gotta bring it. You understand what I'm saying? Because when we leave it up to chance, our people ain't gonna make it through. We know people that's been sent by the government to the government. Now, if you the government, I'm the government, and I send these people to you, how you turn them away?
Right, that happens too. Yeah.
Okay, so you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is, how do we continue to learn from what has not worked? How do we listen to them, the people that's going through this? They tell us things. TL, I did this, man. Guess what happened though? Right? And we on a they trust us. And I think that's the other part that people don't understand for like people like us, that I'm not being critical. What I'm saying is I'm bringing back to you firsthand information to say, hey y'all, man, nah, that ain't work out the way it should have. I know that wasn't your intention, but like we gotta fix that.
People like us, that's a good way to segue, and we could be here for another 3 hours. I don't want us to do that.
No.
But I have to say this. You mentioned Thomas Penny, you mentioned yourself, you mentioned me, and there's a host of other people like us.
Facts.
People who have institutional knowledge, people who are highly intelligent, highly capable, have proximity to this population. What I don't want to happen is that people that don't look like us, that don't have our experiences, that are in power, only focus on the folks that are like in the worst situations and lose the fact that there has to be an investment in people like us too.
100%.
Here's why, right?
100%.
I watched the interview with you and your dad with Beehive in Atlanta, right? Just watch your dad look at you, right? I rewatched our interview with your dad. I watched your dad at the Department of Justice literally shedding tears as you was talking on the panel, right? He knows very clearly how fortunate he is to have people like you.
Yeah.
And you're the model ambassador for a person coming home to have as support. Because you're not just happy to have him home, you can literally help him navigate the correct way. Everybody's not afforded that, right? Everybody don't have Silas' number. Everybody don't have Thomas Penny number. Everybody don't have Eric Weaver number.
Maurice number.
Maurice, yeah. Raheem Jenkins.
Right, facts.
You name it, right?
Facts.
So the government has to also understand that we are aging. And there's some people behind us that have been successful and have shot out so far that the government can't even leverage them to be in that position. Mm-hmm. Don't often see the value in them, right? We know people who it's been difficult for them to get DC government jobs, and they have a college degree. They don't have a record. They done moved out of town and done jobs everywhere else but here.
Yeah.
And they could be very pivotal to helping.
Oh yeah, very, very,
Very
extremely.
pivotal, right? We literally know people like that. And my point is that sometimes we get into this sort of like mindset where like we gotta help the worst of the worst, but people like us,
Yeah,
we gotta be
that's a
further
good point.
stabilized too.
But that's and that I mean, the whole city has ran away from the DC native, no matter what state you in.
Yeah.
And that lack of connectivity and there's definitely a culture gap. There's a socialization problem. You know what I'm saying? That people from here, no matter if you educated or not. That's why I always laugh sometimes at like, I mean, it's opportunity. It's definitely opportunity. I'll put it like this. Let me say it this way. You know what I've seen, what I feel anyway. This is my opinion. I'd love to get your take on it. For those out there, the Mayor Bowser has a community outreach team called the Mokers. Yep. What is community relation?
Mayor's Office on Community Relations.
Mayor's Office of Community Relations. And each ward has at least 2 representatives. Yep. I think Ward 8 may got 3. But when I've looked at the people that have held those roles over the last, just over it was about 9 years Bowser been the mayor or whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
I've seen the best and the brightest of this town, bro.
Facts.
I've often wondered though, what that needs to be replicated
everywhere,
like throughout. When you think about the people, the men and the women that have been mokers, bro. Yeah. When you think about their contributions to the city in that role, but just their skill sets, what they went on to do,
no lie,
their homegrown talent, bro.
No lie, when people, I try to call it down the middle, right? Yeah. We're gonna always be critical of whoever the mayor is, right? The days of the Camelot, Marion Barry days where he could do no wrong. This society just ain't like that no more. We don't look at political figures like that no more, right? The best of the best are still gonna be scrutinized.
100%.
So when people scrutinize her as a current mayor, right, I can take whatever you say that I feel is relevant. But my first pushback often when people make comments about disconnected or like lack of connectivity is the mokers. Yeah. That's my first, I'm like, yo, I know some people that they hired, incredible people.
100%. I mean, I can't, and again, we both, have had opinions that say we think, but I'm going to always give credit where credit's due. Yeah. That's why I brought that up. And it's like, yo, how do we, all of our young people that go through DC Tag, that get that scholarship, that graduate, we've invested in them, in their time, bring them home.
And let them do that job first.
Put them in these agencies, man. Let them grow. Let them help this city. Let them also be a reflection of what's possible. You know what I'm saying?
And maybe I'm out of order for saying this. You probably better to say it because you know him. I don't really know him. I just really kind of met him. But the guy that runs that agency.
Yeah.
He 25 years in prison.
Yeah, he the deputy now.
He the deputy, okay.
But Talib Shakur.
Even still.
Listen, bro. You talking about redemption. You talking about that. That's what I'm saying. We have to, in this city, like, yo, that ain't possible nowhere else in America.
Yeah.
I gotta that ain't possible. That dude walked out of Cumberland. He was locked with my father. And I came up there and interviewed him. That PSA I did with my dad, I interviewed him as well.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Right? And he came home and was hired as a moker and then got a promotion. He left, went got another gig and then came back as the acting director, but now I think he the deputy director.
Still
he did 25 years in prison, bro.
So do he get patted down?
That's what I'm saying.
That's
what I'm saying.
Do he get patted down?
Do you come in the Wilson building and any time and say you can search him?
Crime scenes now helping to provide solace to the community.
He's helping this town, bro.
Yeah.
In every ward, including 2.
Yeah.
Making sure his staff is on point to service the residents, that they can be supported in every way possible. That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm saying. That's so inspiring. How do we can't look at Talib as just a one-on-one. right?
It's a lot
Now
of
everybody
them.
may not be able to work and have the same role, but it's so people just need the opportunity. And if you again, we talked about like you said earlier, well, man, listen, like I said before, people do what we expect, bro. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, don't be afraid to hold him up. He warrants everything that he get. You understand what I'm saying? He has everything that it takes. Nobody giving him nothing. He belongs in that role, right? That's the level of prayer. He also was one of the instructors in the YMI program that I talk about a lot. That my dad was the co-chair of. You know what I'm saying? I've been up there several times. I saw him in action. I saw him pouring into young people. You know what I'm saying? Teaching the classes. I think Salib speak like 3 languages too. He just on some savant shit. He just brilliant guy. Anyway,
Incredible.
but yes, brother. But the Mokers, and shout out to Julia Irvin,
Yes,
who
indeed.
now over at Ones, but you know what I mean, she was running the Mokers at the time when he got the gig, man, and just, you know what I mean, her leadership amongst that team. But I can go on
And been
and
trying
on.
to find people like that.
Yeah, dog.
Actively. I know other people that they've been trying to find to do that work.
Yeah, man.
That come from that cloth.
Man.
Yeah.
And that's powerful. Every agency in the district government should have that, and not just from a returning citizen standpoint. You know, you look at, you know, the Ed Dossons of the world, the Adrian Suttons, the Hakeem Rogers, you know,
Nokomis.
the Nokomises, the Chris's,
Wendell
you know what I'm
Felder.
saying, Wendell Felder, you know what I'm saying,
Dominique Chestnut. I don't know if you know him or not.
No, I don't know.
Dominique, incredible guy
Dominique
too.
Chestnut. So shout out to Dominique
Yeah.
Chestnut. You know what I'm saying? Ant, who was in War One, he was up Dunbar with us the other day.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I always forget his last name, but Big Ant. You know what I'm saying? All these guys who and women that
Wendy
help.
Glenn now.
Wendy Glenn.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Keisha.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Keisha, who now is at October. Keisha was Ward 8. You know what I'm saying? Mocha. I mean, I forgive me, my friends who and colleagues who were probably mochas that escaping my mind. Don't be beating
That's
me
how
up.
many they are.
That's
That
how many they
incredible
are,
people.
though.
Yeah.
And all of them are like phenomenal folks, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I think, again, if we want to talk about how we can do it, or what, you look right there. That's all I'm saying. Look right there. And so for the DC tag recipients who go off to college and the city helps to subsidize their tuition and they graduate, and we look,
We got to know where they at.
what?
We got to grab them.
DCHR should be having recruitment fairs. Boom. We need you. Particularly in the agencies that's forward facing to district residents or DC natives. You know what I'm saying? Just having them in that perspective would be stellar. You know what I'm saying? I think it would help the agencies function and do their mission much more than what we see. Because of the disconnects. People are well intentioned, but they don't factor in these certain things that we know. You know what I mean? So anyway, not to go, I didn't mean to go off on that soliloquy, bro, but I think that is super important that we keep showing that it is evidence of what we're saying. I think that's the biggest thing for me. Like you mentioned, all the stories that we know, or we talk about the moke, like we know that this can work. We have examples but it has to be more intentional and more widespread. If we want a safe community, if we want thriving communities, if we want our schools to be safe, if we want our babies to have make more sound decisions, that's gonna come from having more stability. You know what I mean? Until we do that, you know what I mean, we're gonna be in this sort of this situation because locking them all up, you know, just ain't gonna do it.
And the final thing I'll say about it, right, is I think we've also put a real focus on trying to give people that are really in these jams the opportunities, and I think we should still continue to do that. But sometimes giving them the ball first, if they're the only one getting the ball, it's a lot of pressure. So we have to also cultivate an environment around them where they aren't the first person in their neighborhood to get a job.
That's why we gotta tackle.
You feel me?
No, I do.
Because like,
young.
if the uncles and the grandfathers and the mothers got jobs, that kid, when you now give them the opportunity, they got something to look at.
That's
you know?
exactly it.
Yeah.
No, but
But too many times it's been like, this guy who's the most loud, the flyest, he carrying a pistol, let's get him a job, but nobody around him got one.
Yeah,
it's a lot of pressure
I think
on
what
him.
people be making an assumption though is that he the only one without the job, but he not.
He not.
That's what I'm saying. These young, they coming from the community, nobody work.
Yeah, nobody working.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying that. Now, you know, I grew up like that. My grandmother, my aunt had a job. I'm saying, but so that was cool for me. I saw them go to work. But like far as males, I ain't never seen no man go to work.
Yeah,
that has impact. And now these youngers growing up, ain't nobody work.
And you making him the first to do it. It's like it's a lot of pressure. He trying.
He trying his best, but you know, his best. You know what I'm saying?
Might not be it.
So yeah, that's why we got to tackle the family and the community, bro. We got opportunities for DC natives, man. We got to.
So as we end the conversation, and quite honestly, time is flying so much. We're ending the year at this point. It's October, right?
Facts.
Some people might be asking, how do I voice my opinion? And I think one of the ways is that as the top of the year comes and we start having performance hearings for agencies and we start having hearings for legislative ideas that are being considered, I think we really have to, in 2024, really put the phone down a little bit, start being back in person.
Showing up, man.
Showing up. Because we can be in the comment section of like the popular blog gram pages, right? But that might not be the reach that might not be far enough, right? We got to really start figuring out how do we take these thoughts that we have. And again, when I say we, I'm talking about all of us. Because a lot of people have great ideas. But we got to start getting in front of the council members and the people in these agencies. And sometimes like we like to voice our opinions in like these other channels, but there's still the appropriate channels where you can really be heard. And I would really advise a lot of y'all dccouncil.us. I'm sorry, .gov now. dccouncil. Yeah, they changed the domain.
I didn't know that.
DC.
See, we learned it.
Right. dccouncil.gov.
Maybe we start sharing that a little more on our platforms about when hearings are coming up.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, y'all, like the first episode we talked about that, like, you know, you always say, you know, you coined the term for yourself, a civic activist, right? But yeah, y'all, you gotta be more civically engaged, man. Can't keep sitting on the sidelines and, you know, like you said, jumping in the comments. Yeah. That ain't gonna do it.
You know, that's not gonna go as far. You can't throw that rock. It's not gonna bounce across the other side. So take a look at that. If you're really serious, dc.gov, dccouncil.gov as well. All these major like sites where information is being disseminated, and there's opportunities for you to be able to weigh in. And, you know, for us, we're gonna be in this fight regardless of who's elected or who's not. Like, as long as we breathing, we're going to be a part of it. And it's really about restoring community. So leave a comment on the page, man, what you think about the solutions we've talked about. If you have additional solutions, we want to hear it. And that's what these conversations are about. So until the next time, man, y'all take care.
Peace and love.
Peace.